As a writer, you often hear the cliche saying, "Watch out or you may end up in my book." Well, maybe it should be a little bit more like, "I better watch out or I will end up in my own book." Today we're going to talk a little bit about avoiding self-insertion while still including yourself, your beliefs, and your person in your story. Hello, my name is Jennifer Aline. I am a freelance writer, an audiobook narrator, the mother of twin girls, and my debut novel, That Age, is coming out winter of 2020-2021. Like I was just saying, self-insertion is, I will put the definition here, but when I summarize this definition, I would say that self-insertion is when the author puts themselves fully into a character, usually the main character of a story. And this happens quite often in ways. And weirdly, self-insertion is looked down upon, especially in fiction. And it makes a little bit of sense that it would be looked down upon because you really do want to prove yourself as a writer and be dynamic. You want to be able to relate to other kinds of people and other cultures. You want to be able to kind of look outside of the box and create characters that are not like you. But writers also like to kind of include their own experiences and include some traits and little things about them in their characters. So how do we really avoid it altogether? Today we're going to talk about ways you can avoid self-insertion while still including yourself in your book. The first little tip I'm going to discuss is spread yourself out. Spread yourself out throughout your characters. I often write in multiple points of view. So for me, or for somebody who writes stories in multiple points of view, this may be a little bit easier for you. If you're somebody who sticks to a single protagonist, it can be hard not to throw all your beliefs and all your physical traits into one character and make that character the full self-insertion. What you want to try to do is spread yourself out. If you have multiple characters, take little parts of you, your experiences, and kind of drop them into the characters. For example, like I said, like to write multiple points of view. And I will kind of take maybe a belief of mine and put that in one of the characters. I may take a physical trait, curly hair, and kind of put that in another character. Maybe I will put my quirky, goofy personality into another character. Family drama, maybe I throw that at another character. It's nice to kind of spread yourself out amongst your characters, because if you stuck to keeping it all in one character, that's kind of self-insertion. Also mean spread yourself out, like I kind of was saying, when it comes to your personality, when it comes to physical traits, when it comes to beliefs, when it comes to past memories and experiences that you might want to include in a story. It's nice to kind of throw them into the characters and make those characters connect with those moments just as much as you do, because readers can understand and feel that connection when they're reading. So they may be like, this seems like a pretty deep moment. And if they're really thinking hard, they may think the author experienced it. Even if they didn't, that just means you did the right thing and you wrote it well. But being able to spread some of those things out is crucial when you don't want to be caught guilty as self-inserting. Number 2 is think outside of yourself. And this can honestly be one of the hardest things to do, is when you're creating a character and you're creating a world, you're creating a whole plot, you know yourself. You know your beliefs, you know you, because you've lived with you forever, your whole life. Yeah, you know yourself, so thinking outside or researching or kind of taking a personality from a friend or something along those lines can be kind of hard. It's almost like you're really researching. And that can be crucial for relatability, especially with fiction. You want your audience, you want a broad audience, lots of people to connect to your story. And by keeping your character or main characters just like you, you'll connect, but will other people? Sometimes thinking opposite can help. Let's say that you like the color purple. Maybe make your character like the color green. Really, really bad example. Say maybe you are a meat eater, you love chicken nuggets, you love hamburgers. Well, Let's make your character a vegetarian. That could be very difficult for you to do. You may need to do some research. Maybe you have a family member or a friend who is a vegetarian or a vegan. You may need to reach out to them. Connecting with a different kind of character can be hard, but being able to do that and doing it well is really what makes you a dynamic, diverse, talented, experienced writer. So it's also just proof of your writing ability if you're able to write a character that's not yourself, that doesn't fully believe in everything you believe. And readers can tell if you're not fully into that character. So you want to make sure that you have all the backup, you did that research, and that you connected and believe that character and everything that they're doing. Differences can be really helpful as well. This goes, again, like I was saying, the opposites, the differences. So you may want to connect with a certain character, but does that character really need to be physically just like you? So instead, I may make that character have long, straight, blonde hair and brown eyes and very tan skin. Whoa, that character is a totally different physical being than I am. And instead, maybe I'll throw in there that this character is an aerialist. I do aerial. There's a little way of self-inserting yourself into a character that is not fully you. That character doesn't look a thing like me. Maybe that character doing aerial and circus arts, that's the only part of you that character that you can connect to with that character, and that's great. Now, if I kind of threw that character having a schnauzer and twin girls and being a freelance writer, that might be a bit too much of yourself to throw in that character. But creating a physically different look and throwing in a tidbit of similarity can be perfect. Third piece of advice I'm going to talk about is similar moments or similar experiences. You don't have to put your characters in the exact same situation or scenario that you've experienced, but if you want to include your personal emotions and feelings, make the situation similar. You don't have to make the exact same moment happen for your character, but that moment your character experiences can have the same emotions and feelings that you felt. Let's say that you want your character, this is really morbid, your character is going to get in a car accident and hit a tree. Maybe you experienced that, and you want to fully include the same make and model and tree type in this scene. That's what you experienced. You probably can change that up. That's not something that has to be the same for this character. You can still put your emotions and your very deep and dark memories into that character, but you don't have to say that it was a silver Ford Taurus that hit a willow tree. You can say it was something different. On a happier note, maybe you want a character to get engaged because you had such a great experience getting engaged. And maybe you got engaged on the waterfront at the beach and it was sunset and you could hear the seagulls and you're in Florida or the Dominican Republic or Cancun, I don't know. Instead, maybe don't make it at sundown. Maybe make it not a super sunny day. Maybe make the experience and the atmosphere a little bit different. Instead, you can make it a busier beach, even though people don't usually propose on a busy beach. But you get what I'm saying. You can take your emotions and your experience, throw it at your character in a unique, different way, tweak it a little bit to still make it connect with you and not be fully your experience. 3 little tidbits of advice I wanted to kind of talk to you about when it comes to self-insertion. And let me say, I've been guilty growing up throwing myself as my characters. And I think that most writers pretty much start off that way. It's really hard not to kind of write a curly-haired, freckle-faced little character and not put yourself and your beliefs into that exact same physical character. But I'm going to kind of quickly go through how I inserted some of myself into characters in that age without saying who they are. One of the characters in that age, I was able to put my goofy, silly, quirky personality into. I also kind of put similar glasses on this character, but really with that character, that was probably about it. But I was able to put a couple things about myself into that character. I also put some personal family drama into this character's situation kind of mid-book as well as a family disease that has been experienced. But that was it. Those are really very small pieces of her story that I included myself in. Character I'm going to talk about, I was inspired by two of my friends, honestly, fully for this character. And I really had to make sure I was able to make these two characters work very well together and not make them exactly like my two friends. I did not want the same names. I did not want the exact same looks, but I wanted them very similar. So I was able to include little pieces of those two people and put them into their story. It was a very similar storyline, but they had different jobs. They have different family backgrounds. It was a character of those two that I'm talking about. Tattoos at her, similar beliefs with what I believe. But really that character and that character's side character, definitely based on two friends. And that shows that you can kind of use your experiences in your relationships as kind of a basis for some of your characters and kind of tweak them, change them, make them their own people without making them exactly like the people that you know or exactly like you. Character I'll talk about when it comes to the characters in that age. This character I definitely threw hair at. She has long, at the time, long, curly, frizzy, crazy hair, not the same hair color, but the same texture. So I was able to, the poor girl, throw my hair at her. So there's certain scenes that, you know, she's dealing with her chaotic, crazy hair that, yeah, that's definitely a little self-insertion. But she does not look like me. She does not have the same kind of mindset as I do. So she's definitely not me. But I was able to throw that little physical trait in there. I also, for this character, was able to relate to her with postpartum depression and my past experience with that. I won't go any further into that one, but I did put a lot of scenes in there that were very similar to ones that I'd been through with PPD. So this character has a connection to military. My boyfriend was in the military and went overseas, and her fiance has that connection. So I kind of used my experience and kind of dug into my boyfriend's brain a little bit just to make sure I was on the right track and I was saying the right things when it came to the military. But ways that I've tried to kind of include myself in my characters but not fully self-insert myself in the past. When I wrote my second book, which was self-published that I took off the shelves, I included my cancer experience a little bit with one of the characters. I'm a childhood cancer survivor, so I was kind of able to use some of my experience growing up as a survivor and involve it with this character. My brother also passed away from cancer, so the cancer connection definitely was a relatability factor for that character. But other than that, that was really it for her. It came to another character. She gets pregnant at a very young age. These are other stories I've written. Made her similar to my stepsister because at that time she was pregnant. So I kind of related that story to her. But me, that wasn't much self-insertion. That was more a connection and kind of making it similar but not the same. And the last character for this second book that I'm discussing, I threw a lot of mental health struggles at this character that were similar to mine and similar to the postpartum depression scenes. Some self-injury, suicidal ideations, depression mindset. That was enough self-insertion for those. That character, other than those scenes, was very, very different. But that just shows that you can still create characters that have similar experiences as you do, but not make them exactly like you. Little discussion about self-insertion and still keeping your story in a way connected to you in little hidden bits here and there. If people who really know you read your book, which probably they will, they'll probably pick up on some of those little things. And a lot of people like that. They like being able to tell, the connections in the little self-inserts. But it is looked down upon to have a character exactly like you going through. Then it's not really fiction. You do want it to be fiction, but it's nice to kind of be able to connect and relate to characters in a certain way without self-inserting. So, thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to this lovely little video. If you like this kind of content, subscribe below, hit the thumbs up button, comment below on any thoughts you have when it comes to this, because it is kind of a controversial discussion topic. You guys very much. Stay creative and always drink your coffee.